So fake qualification scandals are absolutely nothing new in South Africa. The most memorable could be Thamsanqa Yankin, who turned the country into a laughingstock during the former President Nelson Mandela's memorial service. This happened exactly a decade ago. In case you forgot, though, let me refresh your memory.
They have been honoring and remembering the memory of Nelson Mandela since he passed away. We applaud you and thank you for that.
Of course, it would appear a new generation has now picked up where he left off, but now a prominent politician's wife in KZN is being investigated for faking her experience for a job. And of course, there's now the bogus doctor, Matthew Lani. And other than for financial reasons, what drives someone to fake their qualifications and lie on a daily basis? Let's now speak to clinical psychologist Dr. Viljoen to get into the mind of a fraudster. And Doc, thank you so much for your time and a very good afternoon to you. I mean, I think that's the constant question that I've also seen with the like of, the fake Dr. Matthew Lani on social media. The question again is why lie so much that you believe the lie and constantly perpetuate the lie of having this qualification on a public platform? Please help us understand psychologically what could possibly be happening there.
So thank you so much for having me. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I think the first thing we need to keep in mind is that I think social media for a lot of us is a space to have a certain element of fantasy where we can project ourselves in ways in which we would like to be seen. However, there are, in this case, as we're seeing now, real-world ramifications. That yes, maybe say things like Facebook, we want to present ourselves in a more favorable light, only show the good times in our lives, and it does, blur the lines. But now in this case, we've seen the reality is that, it's not true, and there are now legal ramifications for that aspect. The other aspect, of course, is that these are professions that have got a lot of value attached to them socially, and it can make us feel a lot better about ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, also when you think about, trying to hold someone accountable or see if they will hold themselves accountable, what does it take, Doc, for the person, the perpetrator in this instance, and I'll make the example of the fake Dr. Matthew Lani, what does it take for them to get to a point to say, hold a minute, I might have been living in a bubble here, I'm actually not a real qualified doctor. There's something about the messaging and, how I've been dressing like a doctor that I've been falsifying, and I need to stop.
Sure. So that's a tricky one, because I'm pretty sure it probably started off with something quite small, and now it's expanded to a bigger lie that, there's positives. I mean, people are following him now. He's probably getting a lot of benefits as well, and people are caring about what he said. There has been a lot of negative engagement, if I think about his story as well. And now to the point where you've had a university, you've had HPCSA calling him out, and now there are, Department of Health has made comments as well, if I look at what's in the news. So the hope is that this will stop him and make him realize, actually, I've gone too far. The other question is, we don't know what's happening with this gentleman, if there are any other contributing or compounding factors that could be happening. This might be more than just a psychological aspect of enjoying where he's at. There might actually be a real condition attached. But we can't say that without obviously getting to know him and examining him and seeing him what's happening.
Yeah. And how convincing are they, Doc, when it comes to unsuspecting victims here? I mean, if we think about the Department of Health in Gauteng, they had worked with him. They had previously, come out saying that they had worked with him, obviously, on, I don't know if it was a campaign or an initiative, but surely there's something he said or even presented in his profile that was convincing, even to a whole Gauteng Department of Health, that he is legitimate, as he claims.
So that's a difficult one, because like you said, we don't know the grounds on which that work was done. So I can't really comment there. But I think the reality is, if we sell ourselves, professions like medicine, we go to see a doctor, how many of us are going to ask for their qualifications? How many of us are going to ask, where they studied and the like? These are professions where we go with a certain level of trust. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge that has been the abuse of trust. You get people in many professions who claim to be things that they're not, and that is the problem. So I think he is convincing. I think, like many people, as you gave a list of individuals who claim to be things that they weren't, they're convincing and they prey on people's vulnerabilities and people's sensitivity. And again, in social media, there's going to be less of a check. We're going to see our GP. We see them at their offices. We see them at a hospital. We're not going to go and see them at a salubrious space and go, oh, wait, hang on, this doesn't seem right. Where social media, you can be very much whoever you want to be. But as we've seen, there are limits to it.
Right. Doc, is there help
legal
available?
Ramifications, yeah.
Absolutely. Is there help available for such, individuals psychologically in terms of receiving treatment? Once again, if I take the example with the fake doctor, Matthew Lani, constantly, even on TikTok, when people ask him questions about why he would prescribe certain medication or share information, medical information, under a false pretense of a doctor, his answer would be that, listen, this is general information that is out in the public, so it's not like I did anything wrong. From your experience, what help then is available?
So, look, I think for him, he can go for individual psychotherapy. I mean, it sounds like he would need to work on just probably aspects of just what is real and what's not. But I do think the other reality is that as the public, we can protect ourselves by checking, HPCSA lists. We can always ask questions about accreditation. And I think it's very dangerous, what you've highlighted there. If there's prescription of medication, that's more than what's in just the public knowledge. That's you saying that as a medical professional, this is what I say you should use, which can have very big negative ramifications as well as legal ones for people as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's why we have to always be cautious, hence the checking and verifying of one's qualification. That's where the responsibility then comes on for us as individuals. But thank you so much for speaking to me about this. Clinical psychologist, Dr. Viljoen, of course, trying to get into the mind of a fraudster, trying to understand exactly where they're coming from, what could inform the constant believing and perpetuating of this lie that is non-existent. In this case, fake qualifications being involved. I mean, if we think about this fake Dr. Matthew Lani, this university came out saying that they have absolutely no record of the said doctor, the CPSA, as well as the likes of Cambridge as an institution of higher learning, also saying that they have absolutely no record of such, and would like for him, this individual, to please retract immediately. But so for you, if you have consulted or taking any medical advice, it would be very much a caution to just make sure not to do it once again with anyone that you suspect may have a fake qualification, but quickly easily make sure you check if indeed they are qualified medical doctors.